Today, we have a story that transcends time, a living testament to the fact that true love, no matter how much life tries to pull it apart, always finds its way back. This is the beautiful story of Nataly Hayes and Nathan Caldwell, two young souls who, in a vibrant American summer, were struck by a passion so intense and overwhelming that it defied all conventions. Their love was born in the shadows of a complicated friendship, a forbidden desire that they ultimately sacrificed to protect those they cared for. For 50 long years, they lived separate lives, each carrying the indelible mark of that first, most profound love. But what happens when, after half a century, a forgotten photograph resurfaces, igniting a spark that was never truly extinguished? I invite you to settle in, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please, share in the comments where you're listening from today. Nataly and Nathan's journey is about to begin. The late 90s in a bustling suburban town, nestled on the outskirts of a vibrant American city, pulsed with the restless energy of youth. For Nataly Hayes, those years were a kaleidoscope of friendships, burgeoning dreams, and the intricate dance of high school social circles. Her days were filled with the easy camaraderie of her closest friend, Sarah, and the shared anticipation of a future that felt both limitless and just beyond reach. Life, in its innocent complexity, seemed to unfold with a predictable rhythm until Nathan Caldwell entered their orbit. Nathan arrived in their lives as Sarah's new boyfriend, a whirlwind of quiet intensity and an undeniable charm that drew people in. He was the kind of young man who moved with a subtle grace, his eyes holding a depth that hinted at unspoken thoughts. Sarah, effervescent and open, was utterly smitten, and Nataly, ever the supportive friend, found herself observing Nathan with a detached curiosity that slowly, imperceptibly, began to shift. It started subtly, a shared glance across a crowded cafeteria, a lingering moment when their hands brushed while reaching for the same book. There was an undeniable current, a silent recognition that pulsed beneath the surface of polite interactions. For Nataly, it was a disquieting sensation, a warmth that spread through her whenever Nathan was near, a magnetic pull she tried desperately to ignore. He was Sarah's, and that fact was an unshakable truth, a boundary she dared not cross. Yet the intensity of his presence, the way his gaze seemed to find hers, even in a room full of people, began to chip away at her resolve. Nathan, too, found himself unexpectedly captivated. What began as a genuine affection for Sarah soon became overshadowed by an overwhelming, almost uncontrollable pull towards Nataly. Her quiet strength, the thoughtful way she listened, the subtle spark in her eyes, these qualities drew him in with an intensity he hadn't anticipated. He saw in Nataly a kindred spirit, a depth that resonated with his own, and the burgeoning feelings for her were a betrayal of his loyalty to Sarah, a conflict that gnawed at his conscience. Their stolen moments became the secret language of their burgeoning, forbidden attraction. Late-night study sessions that stretched into whispered conversations about dreams and fears, accidental encounters in the school hallway that ended with lingering eye contact, shared laughter that felt too intimate for mere friends. Each interaction was charged with an unspoken desire, a powerful current that threatened to overwhelm their carefully constructed facades. The air between them crackled with an almost desperate energy, a raw, visceral pull that defied logic and loyalty. It was an intoxicating dance on the edge of a precipice, fueled by the knowledge that every shared glance, every fleeting touch, was a dangerous step closer to an inevitable fall. One rainy afternoon, the world outside mirroring the turmoil within, their carefully guarded emotions finally broke free. Sarah was away, visiting family, and Nataly and Nathan found themselves alone, seeking refuge from the storm in the quiet solitude of Nataly's living room. The soft light, the rhythmic drumming of rain against the window pane, the shared vulnerability of their unspoken feelings, it all converged into an irresistible force. In a moment of profound weakness, overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of their connection, they succumbed. It was not a calculated act, but an instinctive surrender to a passion that had become too powerful to deny. The touch was electric, a confirmation of the raw, undeniable chemistry that had simmered between them for weeks. A kiss, tentative at first, then deep and consuming, sealed their unspoken betrayal. In that moment, the world outside ceased to exist. There was only the intoxicating warmth of his embrace, the intoxicating scent of his skin, the overwhelming rush of a desire that had been suppressed for too long. It was a physical and emotional explosion, a release of pent-up longing that left them both breathless and profoundly shaken. The intensity of their connection was breathtaking, a physical and emotional bond that transcended their different worlds. It was a love that consumed, a fire that burned with an almost desperate urgency, fueled by the knowledge that their time together was borrowed, fragile. The sheer force of their attraction was undeniable, a powerful current that pulled them into an intoxicating dance of desire and profound affection. But the aftermath was a crushing weight of guilt and despair. The brief, exhilarating surrender was quickly replaced by the stark reality of their actions. The image of Sarah, their friend, their innocent connection, loomed large, a painful reminder of the trust they had broken. The thought of hurting her, of shattering her world with their selfish desires, was unbearable. They both knew, with a sickening certainty, that this path was unsustainable, that their love, born of such complicated circumstances, could only lead to pain for everyone involved. The decision was agonizing, a silent agreement forged in the crucible of shared guilt, and a desperate need to protect Sarah. They had to stop. They had to walk away. It was a choice made not out of a lack of love, but out of an overwhelming sense of responsibility and a profound fear of the destruction their passion could wreak. Their parting was not dramatic, but a quiet, tearful understanding that their young, intense love, no matter how powerful, could not be allowed to flourish at the expense of another's happiness. As Nathan left that rainy afternoon, a part of Nataly's heart went with him. The vibrant colors of her youth seemed to dim, replaced by a muted gray. She watched him go, the rain washing away the evidence of their shared transgression, but unable to erase the indelible mark he had left on her soul. She knew, with an unwavering certainty, that she would never love another with the same fierce intensity, the same consuming passion she had felt for Nathan. He was her first, her only true love, a connection so deep it felt like the very fabric of her being. The years that followed would be a testament to her quiet resilience, a life lived with a hidden ember of intense, forbidden love glowing softly beneath the surface, a constant reminder of a passion that had been too pure, too powerful for the world to allow. The years that followed their agonizing separation stretched into a quiet eternity for Nataly Hayes. The vibrant hues of her youth had muted, replaced by a landscape of subdued colors, a reflection of the profound loss she carried within. She moved through her days with a quiet grace, fulfilling expectations, pursuing her education, and building a career that offered stability and purpose. Yet, beneath the surface of her composed exterior, the memory of Nathan Caldwell remained a sacred, untouched space, a hidden chamber, where the intensity of their shared passion was perfectly preserved. She remembered the electric touch of his hand, the intoxicating scent of his skin, the way his eyes held hers with an unspoken promise. These were not mere recollections. They were visceral sensations, replaying in her mind with an astonishing clarity. A constant reminder of the raw, undeniable pull that had existed between them. Sometimes, a particular melody on the radio, the scent of rain on warm asphalt, or a fleeting glimpse of a young couple lost in each other's gaze would transport her back to that rainy afternoon. And for a moment, the overwhelming rush of that forbidden desire would surge through her, as vivid and breathtaking as if no time had passed. It was an uncontrollable passion, a fire that had been banked but never truly extinguished, a testament to a connection that felt like the very fabric of her being. Nathan, too, carried the indelible mark of Nataly. After their painful parting, he had channeled his heartbreak into a relentless drive, seeking new horizons far from the shadows of his past. He pursued his ambitions with a quiet determination, building a life that was outwardly successful and respectable. He found companionship, built a family, and navigated the complexities of adulthood with integrity. But no matter the joys and challenges of his life, the memory of Nataly, her quiet strength, her thoughtful gaze, and the profound, almost spiritual connection they had shared, remained a constant, guiding presence. He often wondered if she ever thought of him, if the intensity of their connection had left as deep an imprint on her soul as it had on his. The memory of her touch, the way her body had fit against his, the unspoken language of their intimacy, these sensations, though distant, still held a potent power, a ghost of a desire that had once consumed him entirely. It was a benchmark against which all other affections were measured, a reminder of a passion so pure, so overwhelming, that it had defined his understanding of love itself. Decades unfolded, a tapestry of separate lives, each rich with its own experiences, joys, and sorrows. Nataly learned to find contentment in her routines, to appreciate the quiet beauty of her world, but a part of her always wondered about the road not taken, the life that might have been with Nathan. She built relationships, but none ever ignited the same consuming fire, the same raw, undeniable pull that had existed with him. There was always a subtle distance, a guardedness around her heart, protecting the sacred space where Nathan's memory resided. Life, in its relentless march, brought its inevitable transitions. Nataly navigated the complexities of motherhood, the responsibilities of family, and the quiet losses that come with time. She became a woman of profound wisdom and gentle resilience, her spirit refined by the passage of years. Yet, in the quiet moments of reflection, the image of Nathan, vibrant and full of life from that fateful summer, would surface, bringing with it a bittersweet ache, the comfort of a cherished memory intertwined with the pain of a love lost. As she entered her late 40s, a new phase of life began to unfold. Her children were grown, pursuing their own paths, and Nataly found herself with more time for quiet contemplation. One crisp autumn afternoon, while meticulously organizing old boxes in her attic, a forgotten relic of her past emerged. Tucked away beneath layers of faded letters and childhood drawings, she found a small, worn photograph. It was a candid shot, taken by Sarah, from that long-ago summer. In it, Nathan was laughing, his head thrown back, his eyes sparkling with an uninhibited joy. He was looking directly at the camera, but Nataly knew, with a certainty that resonated deep within her soul, that in that moment, his gaze had been meant for her. The photograph was a jolt, a powerful current that surged through her, reawakening dormant emotions with an almost painful intensity. It wasn't just an image. It was a portal, transporting her back to the raw, visceral pull of their youth, to the intoxicating warmth of his presence, to the overwhelming rush of a desire that had been suppressed for too long. The intensity of their connection, the sheer force of their attraction, the uncontrollable passion that had once defined her very being, it all came flooding back, as vivid and breathtaking as if no time had passed. Holding the faded photograph, Nataly felt a profound shift within her. The quiet resignation that had defined her approach to that lost love began to dissipate, replaced by a fierce, undeniable urgency. The image of Nathan, so alive, so full of the promise of a love that had been denied, ignited a spark she thought was long extinguished. It was a silent challenge, a whisper from the past urging her to reconsider the path not taken. The world had changed dramatically around her, but the core of her youthful passion, the undeniable spark that had ignited between them, remained stubbornly alive, preserved in the amber of memory, now vividly brought to life by a forgotten photograph. The question that had haunted her for decades, what if, now demanded an answer. The faded photograph of Nathan, clutched in Nataly Hayes's hand, became more than just a relic of the past. It was a powerful catalyst, igniting a dormant fire within her. The quiet resignation that had settled over her heart for decades was replaced by a fierce, undeniable resolve. The question of what if had transformed into a compelling why not. The world had changed dramatically since that rainy afternoon of their parting, and Nataly, now a woman of profound wisdom and quiet strength, felt an unprecedented courage stirring within her. Her search began tentatively, a cautious exploration of the digital landscape that had emerged in the years since their separation. Old yearbooks, faded memories, and the vast, intricate web of online directories became her tools. She typed his name, Nathan Caldwell, into search engines, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Each click, each new page loaded, was a step into the unknown, a journey back to a past she had meticulously, if reluctantly, archived. The process was slow, filled with dead ends and false leads. But Nataly's determination, fueled by the reawakened intensity of her youthful passion, remained unwavering. Finally, after weeks of diligent searching, a profile emerged. It was him. Time had etched new lines on his face, silvered his hair, but the warmth in his eyes, the gentle curve of his smile, the underlying strength, it was unmistakably Nathan. He looked older, wiser, a man who had lived a full life, yet the essence of the young man who had once captivated her entirely was still profoundly present. A wave of overwhelming emotion washed over Nataly. Relief, wonder, and an exhilarating, almost terrifying rush of recognition. The fire that had been banked for so long now roared to life, a powerful, uncontrollable passion that made her hands tremble. Her finger hovered over the send message button, a moment suspended in time, laden with the weight of 50 years and the promise of a future. What words could possibly bridge such a chasm? How could she explain the photograph, the decades of longing, the undeniable truth that he had never truly left her heart? She crafted her message carefully, a delicate dance of words across the digital divide, speaking of the photograph, the memories of that summer, and the quiet hope that he might remember her. Nathan's reply was immediate, eager, filled with a warmth that felt achingly familiar, yet thrillingly new. He remembered. He had never forgotten. His words flowing across the screen spoke of his own journey, his own quiet longing for a connection that felt truly complete. He confessed that no other love had ever quite measured up to the intensity of what they had shared, a sentiment that resonated deep within Nataly's soul, a confirmation of her own unspoken truth. The raw, visceral pull he had felt for her as a young man had matured into something even deeper, a consuming desire tempered by respect and a lifetime of longing. Their exchanges became a lifeline, a bridge spanning decades of silence. They wrote of their lives, their triumphs and heartbreaks, the wisdom gained, and the quiet lessons learned. Each message was a piece of a puzzle, slowly reconstructing the narrative of two lives lived apart, yet always, in some unspoken way, connected. Nataly found herself smiling more, a genuine, radiant smile that reached her eyes. She spoke of her children and grandchildren, her passions, and the subtle beauty she found in her everyday existence. Nathan, in turn, shared stories of his career, his own journey through loss, and the quiet longing he had carried for a connection that felt truly complete. The reawakening of their connection was not merely intellectual, it was profoundly visceral. With each email, each shared memory, Nataly felt a familiar warmth spread through her, a tingling sensation that began in her chest and radiated outwards. She remembered the intoxicating thrill of his presence, the way his hand felt in hers, the magnetic pull that had always existed between them. The thought of his kind eyes, his infectious laugh, the very scent of his skin, began to resurface with an astonishing clarity, stirring a deep, almost primal yearning within her. It was a rediscovery of a physical and emotional language she had thought was lost forever, a powerful current of desire that, though unspoken, was undeniably present. a ghost of a passion that had once defined her very being. Their conversations soon moved beyond text. The first video call was a moment suspended in time, laden with the weight of decades and the promise of a future. Nataly, her heart pounding with a mixture of nerves and exhilarating anticipation, saw him for the first time in decades. Time had etched new lines on his face, silvered his hair, but the essence of Nathan, the warmth in his eyes, the gentle curve of his smile, the underlying strength, was unmistakably the same. And he, in turn, saw in Nataly not just the passage of years, but the enduring beauty of her spirit, the wisdom in her gaze, and the vibrant spark that had first captivated him. The initial awkwardness quickly dissolved into a comfortable ease, a testament to the profound connection that had always existed between them. They spoke for hours, sharing laughter and tears, catching up on a lifetime of experiences. It was as if no time had passed, yet every moment was imbued with the richness of their individual journeys. Nataly found herself drawn to the depth of his voice, the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, the quiet strength that radiated from him. She felt seen, truly seen, in a way she hadn't been in years, and the intensity of this recognition was both comforting and exhilarating. Nathan, from his home in a different state, felt the same powerful pull. He had carried the memory of Nataly for so long, and now, seeing her face, hearing her voice, confirmed what his heart had always known. She was the one. Her vibrant spirit, her keen intellect, and the enduring warmth of her presence filled a void he hadn't realized was so profound. He found himself captivated by her laughter, by the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke of her passions, by the comfortable silence they could share without needing to fill it with words. He recognized in her a kindred spirit, a soul that understood the complexities of life's journey, and a woman whose memory had never truly faded. The conversations grew longer, more frequent, delving into deeper themes: the nature of love, the meaning of second chances, the courage it takes to open one's heart again after loss. They spoke of the fear of vulnerability, the hesitation that comes with age, the quiet belief that perhaps their time for intense, passionate love had passed. But as they spoke, their eyes would meet through the screen, and in those shared glances, an unspoken truth would emerge. The possibility of a love that was not a faded echo of the past, but a vibrant new melody, richer and more profound for the lives they had already lived. The intensity of their connection was breathtaking, a physical and emotional bond that transcended their different worlds. It was a love that consumed, a fire that burned with an almost desperate urgency, fueled by the knowledge that their time together was borrowed, fragile. The sheer force of their attraction was undeniable, a powerful current that pulled them into an intoxicating dance of desire and profound affection. The physical longing became almost unbearable. The desire to feel his touch, to be held in his arms, to rediscover the intoxicating intimacy they had once shared, grew with each passing day. It was a yearning that transcended mere physical attraction. It was a deep, soul-level craving for the completeness they had found in each other so many years ago. Nataly felt a fire rekindling within her, a powerful, almost youthful desire that made her heart race with an exhilarating fervor. The thought of his lips on hers, the warmth of his embrace, the sheer joy of being utterly, completely present with him again, consumed her thoughts. The memory of his touch, the scent of his skin, the way his gaze could ignite a fire deep within her. These sensations, though distant, still held a potent power, a ghost of a passion that had once defined her very being. Finally, after weeks of intense reconnection, Nathan made a proposition, his voice filled with a hopeful tenderness. "Nataly, I need to see you. I need to know if what I feel, what I believe we still have, is real. Would you allow me to come to you?" Nataly's heart pounded with a fierce, joyful intensity. The question, simple yet momentous, hung in the air, laden with the weight of decades and the promise of a future. The answer was an undeniable, resounding yes. The quiet rhythm of her solitude had been replaced by a vibrant new melody, a song of second chances, of a love that had found its way back to her, even in her golden years. The intensity of this burgeoning connection, this overwhelming passion, made her feel utterly, gloriously alive, proving that sometimes the most beautiful stories are those that begin when you least expect them, when love knocks again, softly at first, then with an undeniable, heart-accelerating force. The air in Nataly Hayes's suburban town seemed to hum with an almost palpable anticipation as the day of Nathan's arrival drew near. For Nataly, each passing hour was a delicate balance of nervous excitement and a profound, exhilarating hope. Her home, usually a haven of quiet routines, now buzzed with a renewed energy. She meticulously prepared, not just her house but her heart, for the man who had once been her world, and was now, against all odds, returning to it. The thought of seeing him, truly seeing him, after 5 decades, sent shivers of anticipation through her, a potent mix of youthful giddiness and the deep wisdom of a life fully lived. The moment of his arrival at her doorstep was a blur of emotion. As she opened the door, time seemed to dissolve. He was there, Nathan, with the same kind eyes, the same gentle smile, though now framed by silver hair and the distinguished lines of age. Their eyes met, and in that instant, all the years, all the distance, all the unspoken questions simply vanished. A powerful current, as strong and undeniable as the youthful passion that had first drawn them together, surged between them. Their embrace was tentative at first, then firm, a silent testament to a connection that had never truly broken. The scent of him, the warmth of his body against hers, the steady beat of his heart, it was all achingly familiar, yet gloriously new. In that embrace, Nataly felt a profound sense of coming home, a completion she hadn't realized she was missing. The physical longing that had built during their virtual reconnection now found its release, a tender, overwhelming confirmation that the spark, far from being extinguished, had only intensified with time, burning with a fierce, almost desperate urgency. Their first days together were a rediscovery, a delicate dance of shared memories and new experiences. They revisited their old haunts, the quiet park bench where they had shared whispered secrets, the old diner where they had stolen glances over milkshakes, now standing as silent sentinels to their enduring love. They walked hand in hand through the familiar streets of their hometown, marveling at how much had changed, and how much in their hearts had remained exactly the same. Each shared glance, each brush of their hands, spoke volumes of a love that was not just rekindled, but reborn, richer and more profound for the journey they had both undertaken. The intensity of their connection was undeniable, a powerful undercurrent that ran through every moment. It wasn't merely the nostalgia of youth. It was a deep, mature passion, imbued with the wisdom of experience and a profound gratitude for this second chance. Their intimacy was a revelation, a tender exploration of two souls, rediscovering the language of touch, of closeness, of shared vulnerability. It was a slow, deliberate unfolding, each touch a whispered promise, each embrace a testament to the enduring power of their bond. Nataly found herself marveling at the intensity of her own desire, a fire rekindled by Nathan's gentle devotion, a passion that made her heart race with an exhilarating, almost youthful fervor. The physical connection was a beautiful symphony, a harmonious blend of tenderness and an undeniable, potent yearning that felt both familiar and utterly breathtaking. Nathan, too, was profoundly moved. Nataly's spirit, her warmth, her unwavering presence, filled his life with a light he hadn't known he was missing. He found in her a partner who understood the complexities of his past, who celebrated his present, and who looked towards a shared future with an open heart. Her love was a powerful affirmation, a testament to the enduring capacity of the human heart to heal, to open, and to love again, with an intensity that felt both familiar and utterly breathtaking. He felt a completeness he had only dreamed of, a profound sense of belonging that settled deep within his soul. The raw, visceral pull he had felt for her as a young man had matured into something even deeper, a consuming desire tempered by respect and a lifetime of longing. They spoke openly about the past, about the difficult choices they had made to protect Sarah. The pain of that old disapproval and the guilt of their secret still lingered, a faint scar, but it no longer held the power to define their future. They realized that the world had changed, and so had they. The societal pressures that had once torn them apart seemed distant, almost irrelevant, in the face of the profound love that had survived half a century. Their children, now adults, witnessed the radiant happiness that emanated from Nataly and Nathan, understanding that this was not a fleeting romance, but a deep, meaningful connection, a testament to the enduring human need for love and companionship, regardless of age. Their support, though sometimes expressed with a touch of amused wonder, was unwavering, a comforting affirmation that this new chapter was not just welcomed, but celebrated. One evening, as they sat on Nataly's porch swing, the gentle creak of the wood a soothing rhythm, Nathan turned to her, his kind eyes filled with a profound tenderness. He spoke of the years he had spent carrying her memory, of the quiet longing for a connection that felt truly complete. He spoke of how Nataly had filled that void, not just with companionship, but with a love so intense, so overwhelming, that it had reshaped his world. He reached for her hand, his thumb gently stroking her knuckles, a gesture that conveyed a lifetime of devotion. Nataly's heart swelled with an emotion so powerful, it brought tears to her eyes. The intensity of his words, the depth of his gaze, the warmth of his touch. It was an overwhelming affirmation of a love that had truly knocked again. Not just gently, but with a force that had swept away all her doubts and fears. She leaned her head on his shoulder, feeling the steady beat of his heart against hers, a rhythm that now felt perfectly aligned with her own. In that moment, as the last rays of sunlight faded from the American sky and the first stars began to appear, Nataly knew with a certainty that resonated deep within her soul. This was it. This was the second chance she had never dared to dream of. The profound, overwhelming passion that had found its way back to her, even in her golden years. It was a love that was not just a comforting presence, but an exhilarating, heart-accelerating force, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to love again, fiercely and completely, proving that even after a heart has been broken and rebuilt, it can still beat with an intensity that feels utterly, gloriously new. The intoxicating intimacy they shared was a beautiful rediscovery, a testament to a bond that transcended time, proving that true passion only deepens with the wisdom of years, becoming richer, more profound, and exquisitely fulfilling. They knew, with an unwavering certainty, that their journey had led them back to each other for a reason, and this time, nothing would stand in the way of building the life they had once only dreamed of. The profound certainty that had settled in Nataly Hayes's heart on her porch swing that evening had only deepened with each passing day. Nathan Caldwell was not merely a rekindled memory. He was a vibrant, living presence. The missing piece of a puzzle she hadn't realized was incomplete. Their love, once a delicate thread stretched across decades, had now woven itself into a rich, unbreakable tapestry, stronger and more beautiful for the trials of time and distance. The decision to build a life together was not a question of if, but when and how. Nathan, with a heart full of renewed purpose, made the move from his bustling city life to Nataly's charming suburban home, eager to plant new roots in the soil where their second chance had blossomed. Nataly's bungalow, once a sanctuary of quiet solitude, now became a home filled with shared laughter, comfortable silences, and the gentle rhythm of two lives harmoniously intertwined. They merged their worlds, blending cherished possessions, routines, and the quiet habits of a lifetime, creating a space that was uniquely theirs, a testament to their enduring bond. Their days unfolded with a joyful simplicity, each moment a testament to the profound happiness they had found. They explored their surroundings together, from the serene beauty of local parks to the vibrant energy of nearby city markets, finding new adventures in familiar landscapes. Nathan, a retired architect, found renewed inspiration in Nataly's passion for gardening and community volunteering, often joining her on excursions to local nurseries or helping with neighborhood beautification projects. Nataly, in turn, discovered a new appreciation for classic rock through Nathan's thoughtful recommendations. Their evenings often spent listening to old records by the fireplace, the warmth of the fire mirroring the warmth in their hearts. The intensity of their passion, far from diminishing with age, had only deepened, evolving into a profound and tender intimacy. It was a love that understood the nuances of a glance, the unspoken language of a touch, the comfort of a shared breath in the quiet hours of the night. Their physical connection was a beautiful symphony, a harmonious blend of tenderness, respect, and an undeniable, potent yearning that felt both familiar and utterly breathtaking. Nataly found herself marveling at the vibrant resurgence of her own desire, a fire rekindled by Nathan's gentle devotion, a passion that made her heart race with an exhilarating, almost youthful fervor. It was a testament to the enduring power of their bond, proving that true intimacy only deepens with the wisdom of years, becoming richer, more profound, and exquisitely fulfilling. Their families, now fully integrated, celebrated their union with genuine joy. Children and grandchildren visited frequently, filling the bungalow with laughter and the vibrant energy of multiple generations. Nataly and Nathan, surrounded by their loved ones, often exchanged knowing glances, a silent acknowledgement of the incredible journey that had led them to this moment of profound contentment. Their love story became a quiet inspiration, a living testament to the belief that destiny, though sometimes circuitous, always finds its way. The old familial disapprovals and the shadow of their past choices had long faded into the background, replaced by the undeniable evidence of a love that had not only survived but thrived. As the seasons turned, painting the American landscape with ever-changing beauty, Nataly and Nathan found a deep peace in their shared existence. They would often sit on their porch swing, watching the world go by, their hands clasped, their hearts full. Nataly would sometimes recall that long-ago summer of '73, the vibrant hues of youth, the promises whispered under starry skies. And then, she would look at Nathan, his profile etched against the setting sun, and know that the love they had found now was not just a memory reawakened, but a glorious culmination, a love that had matured, deepened, and become infinitely more precious. He hadn't forgotten her. The forgotten photograph, arriving like a whisper from the past, had indeed changed everything. It had not only reconnected two souls, but had also reawakened a profound, overwhelming passion that had defied time and distance. It was a love that proved that even after years of quiet solitude, after believing that the most intense chapters of affection were closed, the heart retains an infinite capacity for renewal, for a passion so strong it feels like a second spring. Nataly often thought of the quiet ache she had carried for so long, the unspoken question of whether he had truly forgotten her. Now, that ache was replaced by a vibrant, exhilarating throb, a constant reminder of Nathan's unwavering presence, his gentle strength, and the intoxicating intimacy they shared. Their love was a living testament to the power of destiny, a beautiful, poetic affirmation that some connections are simply meant to be, regardless of the detours life may take. In their golden years, Nataly and Nathan had found not just companionship, but a profound, overwhelming passion, a love that was both a comforting balm and an exhilarating adventure. It was a love that healed old wounds, renewed spirits, and proved unequivocally that it is never too late for a second chance at an intense, heart-accelerating, and utterly glorious love. Their story, etched in the quiet beauty of their American home, became a timeless melody, a testament to the enduring power of a forgotten photograph that arrived and changed everything, forever. The love that survived a lifetime apart had finally found its eternal home, because true love, indeed, never ends. Nataly Hayes and Nathan Caldwell's story is not just a narrative. It's a powerful hymn to the resilience of the human heart and the unwavering strength of love. After 50 years of separate lives, of difficult choices and quiet longing, they proved that true passion never extinguishes. It only matures, becoming even deeper and more meaningful. The intensity of what they felt in their youth was rekindled in their golden years, showing that it's never too late for a new beginning, for a second chance at a love that is both a familiar comfort and an overwhelming, breathtaking force. A forgotten photograph became the key, unlocking a lifetime of preserved affection. If Nataly and Nathan's journey touched your heart, if it made you believe even more in the power of love and second chances, please leave a like and share this video with someone who needs this message of hope. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe a single memory, like a forgotten photograph, can truly lead you back to your destiny? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories that remind us of the beauty and complexity of the human heart. Thank you for being with us on this emotional journey.